Good morning from rural Montana. Mike here from the rural Montana family. It's another beautiful morning. What is it today? The 5th of August that we are recording this here. And it got nice and cold overnight. We dropped down to about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 4 degrees Celsius. And that's really nice for us because we don't have air conditioning here, and so we have all the windows open at night, and we got it down to about 59 60 degrees in here. That is roughly about 15-ish Celsius, I guess. So really nice for us because it will be in the 90s again this afternoon and evening. But anyway, hey, today we are talking about the EV tax credit. No, not the $7,500 old EV tax credit that's basically already phasing out because multiple manufacturers like GM, Toyota, Lexus, and Tesla already reached their cap. I believe the cap was 200,000 vehicles or something, so they can no longer benefit from that tax credit, or the people that purchase those cars can no longer benefit from that tax credit. But there has been a new tax credit in the works since earlier this year, and that's what we're going to look at today. So the new EV tax credit we're talking about was introduced in February with a bill that has all kinds of other stuff in there as well. So it's not just an EV tax credit bill. There's a whole bunch of other things in there. And if you want to, you can go read up on that document. It's over 700 pages. I'm going to put a link down below in the description if you need something that nobody can understand and will put you to sleep. I'm pretty sure that can do it. But we're only looking at the EV tax credit portion of this. And when it initially started out, this document gave a credit of up to like $12,000. But there was like a $4,000 credit in there for cars that were union made, and many people didn't like that. I didn't like that either because we want to not give money to unions or promote unions. We want to promote electric cars and electrification, and so in my opinion this didn't fit in there, and it actually got removed. And so the tax credit now looks like it's $7,500 again. What changed a little bit is about hybrids. Hybrids would get a certain amount of tax credit depending on the size of the battery, and that part has been removed. So anything 7 kilowatt hours and larger will get the full tax credit with this new EV tax bill here. And I'm not a big fan of that because we don't need hybrids anymore. We can go full electric. It's really not a problem. Electric vehicles have enough range. Prices are coming down. Well, currently we have inflation and prices are up due to inflation and high demand for electric cars. But in general, you can get an electric car brand new starting between 25 and 30,000 US dollars. So not really an issue there. So I don't like the 7 kilowatt hours because that is really not promoting electric cars, and there should be a limit maybe at 15, maybe even 20 kilowatt hours if they just want to set a limit to make it easier so that it doesn't have to be calculated by the size of the battery as it used to be for hybrids, or we could just eliminate hybrids completely as far as I'm concerned. So another thing that has changed, what is extremely important, is the critical minerals in the battery pack. in the traction battery as well as battery components. There are some income limitations again. There are some MSRP, manufacturer suggested retail price limitations. Also, you can transfer your credit with this new bill, which means you can transfer it to the dealer at the point of sale. And then we look at the termination of that tax credit and the effective date of this tax credit. So let's jump in. So as I said earlier, some of this stuff is a little bit hard to understand. And it is kind of weird. It says there is, in regards to the critical minerals, there is an amount given of $3,750. So I assume, but I might be wrong and don't know. So if you know, please comment down below. But I assume if the critical minerals part is achieved, you get $3,750 tax credit on this particular car. And then there's another $3,750 for battery components. So I assume if a manufacturer only fulfills one or the other, they get this $3,750 and not the full tax credit. But I'm not sure. So hey, if you know, if you understand this better than I do, please comment down below. So anyway, the critical minerals is if the traction battery minerals are extracted or processed in any country with which the US has a free trade agreement in effect, or minerals come from batteries recycled in North America. And that "or" part is extremely important because with more EVs coming out, there will be more batteries that need recycled at some point. And recycling batteries is much cheaper and much better for the environment. And so we definitely want to recycle these batteries. And there's already companies like a really large company as Redwood. They're already recycling batteries and already producing those minerals from recycling and not from mining. So the US has a trade agreement with 20 countries. Those are the 20 countries here on this list. So battery minerals could either come from the United States right here or from one of those countries to qualify for the tax credit. So there are some other requirements in regards to how many percent of those minerals have to come from those countries. And so before January 1st, 2024, 40% of those minerals have to come from any of those countries. And then during the calendar year of 2024, it would be 50%. In 2025, it would be 60%. And in 2026, it would be 70%. And then anything for cars placed in service after December 31st, 2026, it would have to be 80%. So that's another restriction that's in there, and that restriction tightens up over time so that manufacturers have time to adjust to that, but we can still benefit from the EV tax credit. And then battery components, that is the other half of the $7,500. So again, there was that number, that $3,750 that was assigned to this. And as I said, I'm not 100% sure if that is really split like that. So if one fulfills the minerals but doesn't do the battery components, if we can get a $3,750 credit or not. So if you know that, if you understand this better than I do, please comment down below. The battery components for the traction battery need to be manufactured or assembled in North America. So it says or, it doesn't say and, so I guess we can import some of or all of the parts and pieces as long as it is at least assembled here in North America. Again, there are some more restrictions going along with this, and so in regards to the battery components, the requirements are before January 1st, 2024. We gotta have 50% that fulfill this made in the United States or made in North America, or at least assembled here. Then during the calendar year 2024 and 2025, that is 60%. During the calendar year 2026, 70%. During the calendar year 2027, we're at 80%. And during the calendar year 2028, it's 90%. And then it gets interesting, placed in service after December 31st, 2028, 100%. So basically from 2029 onwards, 100% of the components have to either be made in North America or at least assembled in North America according to this bill. So these restrictions for the minerals and the battery components are a benefit to the United States or North America in general, because we're basically talking North America, so includes Canada and Mexico. But we're bringing manufacturing here, and we need labor, so we're creating jobs. So I think these restrictions are pretty good. So then we have the income limitations. If you're making too much money, you might not qualify for this EV credit. But that said, if you're making too much money, it doesn't really matter. And currently there are many Teslas and Chevy Bolts sold that no longer qualify for the current EV tax credit, and they still sell like hotcakes. So it's not really an issue, I think, and especially if you got the money, it doesn't matter. And the income limitations, I think, are reasonable. So if you file a joint return, your income limitation is $300,000. If you're head of household, $225,000, and if you're single or other, that doesn't fall into the two previous categories, it's $150,000 income limit. And then we have the MSRP, the manufacturer's suggested retail price limitations. So again, the bill mostly wants to make sure that people that make tons of money and buy really expensive, sometimes senseless electric cars like the Hummer. I think the Hummer is, it's a toy for somebody. It really doesn't promote sustainable transport at all. I'm sure it's fun to drive and stuff, but it's expensive and it's not very efficient. So, and I think they want to just kick these cars out of that bill, because basically we want to make sure everybody can afford an EV, and we want to promote the cheaper EVs and not the more expensive EVs. So I think that's where the MSRP limitations come from. And they're not too bad. So for vans, SUVs, and pickup trucks, it can be up to $80,000 MSRP. Now it says MSRP, as we know from buying cars in general, there is usually an MSRP, but then we purchase at a different price, at a lower price. So I'm not sure how this will work out, because if let's say GM sets an MSRP for $85,000 for one of their electric vehicles, but then it actually gets sold for $79,000, would you qualify for the tax credit? I don't know. I mean, it says clearly MSRP, so I don't know if you know, or let me know what you think. If you buy cheaper than MSRP, would you qualify if you fall below the 80,000, or would you not? The bill says MSRP, so I think you would not qualify even if the car actually sells below the MSRP. And then the others, which is basically all the cars, can be up to $55,000. So again, these two numbers are promoting cheaper EVs, and I think because it says MSRP, it will help to bring the MSRPs down, because manufacturers probably want their cars to qualify for this. So they probably, rather than going high in the MSRP and then you got to go in and haggle and bring the price down, hopefully they just set the price and that's what it's going to be. And so we don't have to haggle for hours. It's just like, hey, this is the price and that's it. So there was always the discussion how bad it is in regards to the EV tax credit, because you have to wait from the point of sale to time when you file for taxes to get your credit. Which, you know, if you just bought your car in May, you would have to wait another almost 12 months basically to get your tax credit. And so also you would have had to have a tax liability that is greater than the tax credit. So if you don't pay taxes at this point, you can't get a tax credit. So with this new bill, you could actually transfer that credit to the dealer and immediately get the discount at the time when you purchase the car at the point of sale. So that would be really cool, because now you can get $7,500 off when you purchase the car, which just brings down your payment if you finance the car, which would be really cool. Now that said, I'm not sure how this is going to work if you do not have a tax liability of $7,500. So there's some unknowns there that I'm not sure in this bill. Do you know? I mean, if you know how this will work out with this new EV tax bill, if your tax liability is less than $7,500, can you get $7,500 credit at the point of sale? Or how does it work? Or will they make you pay taxes later or something? I'm not really sure, but I would love to see this just be a point of sale so that we can get $7,500 off and don't have to worry about anything else as long as we qualify for the income limitations. How long does this tax credit last? This tax credit would last for a long time, almost 10 years. It would end December 31st, 2032. This is a long time. So no more credits for any vehicle that is placed into service after December 31st, 2032. That's a long time. That certainly would promote sustainable transport and electrification over the next 10 years. And I think this is really cool. But when does it start is what you want to know, right? Because we don't worry about the next 10 years too much, especially if we want to buy a car now. Maybe you're in line for a car right now that no longer qualifies. If you got a Chevy Bolt EUV on order, you might qualify for this new tax credit if you can get it after December 31st of this year, because that is when this would start. Basically, January 1st, 2023 is the day when you can purchase a car and qualify for this tax credit. So it's not too far out, but we may see a little slump here in EV sales over the next few months, with anticipation of this date of January 1st, 2023. Because, yeah, if you're waiting on a Chevy Bolt, you might want to wait till then. If you wait on a Tesla, you might want to wait. Toyota, the Toyota doesn't qualify. They just started selling their first fully electric car, and well, it does not qualify until the start date, January 1st, 2023. So another cool thing that is in this new EV tax credit bill is that used cars, used EVs, are now included. That wasn't the case before. So this is even better because, especially for lower income people, families that can't afford a new car, this gives them the option to purchase a used EV and get a tax credit. Buying a used EV, you will get the lesser of $4,000 or 30% of the sales price. And the sale price must be below $25,000. So if you want to purchase a high-end electric car, like a Tesla Model S, you're probably, you might not qualify unless it's several years old. So the 2013s, currently they float around that price, but not very many yet, so you may not qualify for that. But then Chevy Bolts would certainly fall in there, and you could pretty much buy almost any Chevy Bolt below $25,000. So that would be really cool. It must be sold by a registered dealer. So if you purchase it from a private party, you will not get the tax credit. And I think that's again promoting dealers, promoting jobs, and probably trying to keep some people out that are just trying to steal some money. Let's put it that way. So dealers have to abide by strict rules, and they have to be registered in order to be able to qualify to give you that $4,000 used EV tax credit. And the buyer can only claim the credit once every 3 years. So if you change cars every year or every other year, you couldn't claim that. You can only claim it once every 3 years. So again, there's some limitations there, because if you go through cars relatively quick, maybe you're making enough money actually that you don't really need to get this tax credit. They just want to set some limitations here, and again, they want to keep some things straight. And you know, there's always people out there that are trying to just get money. And then we have a model year limitation. So the model year needs to be at least 2 years before the calendar year of your acquisition of purchasing the car. So basically the car has to be 2 years or older in order to qualify for the tax credit. And then the income limits are lower in this case because we're looking at used. So this will promote people that have a little more money to buy new EVs, which turn into used EVs eventually, right? So that's very important to understand. So these income limits are lower. Joint is $150,000, head of household is $112,500, and single and others are $75,000 for used EV tax credit. So there is also a commercial tax credit in there for big rigs, electrified big rigs. So like for Nikola, Tesla, Semi, Mercedes, Volvo, they have big rigs. So there's a commercial credit for those of $40,000. So that's pretty cool too, because that will move electrification forward into these bigger trucks and the commercial sector as well. One that is missing and not mentioned is motorcycles, actually two-wheeled and three-wheeled vehicles. And so the $55,000 price limit was labeled other. It wasn't specified if this could be a motorcycle or a trike of sorts. So like the Aptera is a three-wheeled vehicle, and we don't really know what category it will fall in, but I'm very much hoping that it falls into the category of other. I also would love to see motorcycles fall into that category so that electric motorcycles actually can get the full tax credit. But it's not really specified, so I don't know. We'll see. Let me know what you think about that. Would you like to see motorcycles to be in that category? Maybe you even are in line for an Aptera and you probably would like to see that tax credit, wouldn't you? So anyway, that's about it for today. Please go visit our Redbubble store. We got t-shirts and other stuff there with designs inspired by electric vehicles and sustainable transport and sustainable energy. And this is a way you could support our channel besides giving us a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified when we bring a new video out. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.